So this is hitting the difficulty components in the varsity score sheet. I know that it's going to be pretty much the exact same. I didn't invent the score sheet, I just know about it, and I'm just going to try to explain to you how to work it and how to make sure that you're really doing it right, because some people do too much and they're not hitting the score sheet, and some people do just enough. What I like to say is work smarter, not harder. So you don't have to do 1,000 crazy things to go compete against somebody that's doing things. You just have to be able to know the score sheet. So knowledge is power, okay? The first thing, if you don't have this, you can go online. It's varsityallstars.com, and then it has the score sheet and everything on there. So you just download that, and then this is your Bible, okay? I'm just gonna go through each little section. I have a laser, guys. I'm gonna start up here, and I'm just gonna go down, so just follow me there. For stunt difficulty, if you do, say you're level 3, and you do a prep straight ride, that's not a level 3 skill, but you cannot get any lower than a 3.0. So on that, you would get a 3.0 because it does not, the skills performed does not meet the low range requirement. So you can't get a 0, but you can get a 3. So I know that sometimes, is anybody gonna do that this year? Do I have to elaborate on that? No? Okay, cool. Then we go to the low range. You're trying to get 4 different level appropriate skills performed by most teams. Does everybody know the difference between level appropriate and elite level appropriate? No? Also on this Bible, there's a thing where it has this sort of explanation. So it goes to every level. If you want to know level 1, level appropriate is just gonna be what you can do in that level. And then elite level appropriate is the harder things that get scored harder. So in order to get in the high range, I'm sort of jumping ahead, you have to perform 2 elite level appropriate skills. But if you're in the low range, which is a 3.5 to a 4.0, then you just do 4 regular level appropriate skills. So if I was a level 2, I would do a half up to 2 feet, a lib to lib tick-tock, a straight ride cradle, and a straight up extension. Those aren't elite level appropriate, so I would be in the low range, okay? So in order to get up to the next range is the mid range. You have to do 4 is a magic number, I guess, 4 different level appropriate skills performed by most of the team. When they are talking about most, they'll, in this little Bible, I'll go back, sorry. In this, they say most, squad, and less than most. That is right here where you want to look. So however many people you have, say if I have a team of 19 level 2 kids, most would have to be 3, I believe, 3. So I would need 3 of my 4 groups if I have 4 groups, or I could have 3 groups, 3 of my 4 groups doing the stunt, okay? So if you have 4 groups and only 3 of them do 4 level appropriate skills performed by most of the team, 1 which is the elite level appropriate, then you'll score in the mid-range now. Are there any questions on that? And notice how it says a different level appropriate skill. So if I'm level 2 and I do a half up to lib and I do a half up to lib, I don't get counted. I can't double dip for that. Okay, sometimes you used to be able to do that in the past because you used to be able to do level 5, a tick-tock, 5 of them, and be you're done, cool. You can't do that anymore. So mid-level is 4 different level appropriate skills performed by most of the team, 1 which is elite level appropriate, and then high is 4 different level appropriate skills performed by most of the team, 2 which are elite level appropriate. It doesn't have to be the same. Say if you have a group, you have 2 really solid groups in the middle. I'm using my senior 2 again. 2 really solid groups in the middle, and this one's a little shifty, a little shady, and that one's a little shady on things, but they're good at twisting, and they're good at TikToks. So you do a half up to lib, they can't do it, they can do it. Cool, you're still most, so you'd get scored for those 3 out of 4, and then they do the TikTok, these 3 can do it, and that one can't. You can still, you can mix and match to be able to maximize, really dig it into the score sheet. Are there questions on that? So if I was level 2, I'm just gonna use an example, or level 3, I would do a inversion up to 1 leg stunt. So the thing that's really popular right now is when you're like in a low arabesque and you put your leg above your head and then you dip and go up to a lib. That's elite level appropriate. And then there's also different variations of that. So say I want to do that as my first elite level appropriate skill. I come around, I do a full up to 2 feet. I come back down, I do a half up to lib. That's 2 elite level appropriates and 1 level appropriate. And then I would do a full down. So doing those 4 skills would score me in the high range. Once you're in the high range, it's up to the judge's discretion and how it's comparative scoring on how high you get. Okay, so you can get 4.5 to 5.0 in the high range, but doing those 4 skills doesn't guarantee you a 5.0. Okay, so it just depends on what everybody else is doing. It depends on how many you're doing. You can add more than the 4 if you want to get in the high range. You can do all elite level appropriate skills if you want to get in the high range. Okay, also on too much. On this, only the ones that are on this sheet will be considered elite level appropriate. So if you go to a judge and you're like, well, I know that this is harder than that and that's elite level appropriate, it doesn't matter. Okay, these are the ones, this is the guideline to go by. So we have to go by it, I guess. We're gonna move down. Is there any questions for stunt difficulty? No, it can be throughout the whole routine. Yeah, it can be anywhere. That's like becoming a trend now, is splitting up in 2 stunt sections because it might be a little bit easier to hit and not all one. They might not be so tired. So as long as you're doing it throughout the routine, they're gonna count it, okay? Is there any more questions for stunt difficulty? Like I said, it's just, when I coach, I have, these sheets. You just print them and I go by them every day. If somebody gets injured or if I want to be strategic and play the numbers game, I'll do like 19, make sure I have 3 out of 4. If one's not executing well, I take it out because I'm still going to be in the high range. Okay, so just make sure that you know what you're doing. There's only one time, which I'll talk about in like one more thing, where you need to have everybody do everything. Okay, so moving on. Stunt pyramid creativity, that's a choreography thing. I think Brooklyn's gonna be going over that. So basically the same thing, you can't score lower than a 4.0. Brooklyn's gonna be hitting that later. The next one is stunt quantity chart. Stunt quantity and stunt quantity chart. For this, if you're an all-girl team or a co-ed restricted team, you basically get a 5.0, a perfect score on stunt quantity, if you perform an elite level appropriate skill full team. So say my same senior 2 team was doing with 19, or we're doing a half up to the top, but one can't hit it, and that's the only time when we're supposed to do it all together, and I'm in the warm-up room and I take one out because they can't hit, you're not gonna get a 5.0. But if they say you've worked on it really hard, they got it. So everybody does a half up to the top, it's full team, 4 stunts for 19, then you get the 5.0, okay? But then it just goes down, as you see, right here. It just goes, they tell you what they want and they write it out for you. So if you know that one's not gonna hit, and you're like, okay, I'd rather take a 2/10 fall on that difficulty than a full half a point for the fall deduction, then just be smart with that. For co-ed teams, it's on this side. They like jump around. Co-ed quantity this is what we're talking about, co-ed quantity for level 3 and 4. If you have boys on your teams, you need to do a partner stunt. So it's how many boys you have divided by 2, and then it's the lower, you round down. So if you have 3 boys, you need only 1 stunt. If you have 4 boys, you need 2 stunts. 5 boys, 2 stunts. Okay, so basically for level 3 and 4, because level 2 you're not co-ed, level 3 and 4, to get a 5.0, you need to do a walk-up single leg stunt, so walk-up lib, and then it cannot be assisted to get a 5.0. To get a 4.8, it's a walk-in extension, double leg stunt, and then not assisted again. 4.6 is walk-in hands, press extension, or toss hands, press extension. And then 4.4, also 4.6, you get to start getting assisted by people. You're just not, the only way to score a 5.0, which I'm sure everybody wants, is to do the hat walk-in lib or the toss extension single leg stunt, single arm stunt for level 4 only. Okay? Basically, if you have a team in that level, just really, really, really pay attention to a co-ed team especially. You pay attention to this area, and then if you're a co-ed team going to Worlds, that is also a huge area for you guys for like on this score sheet. Okay, I wrote down what it says. Fine print. You can't read it because it's black, but you can't see it. For Worlds, well, for co-ed, both of them. For unassisted credit, the entire skill must be performed unassisted up through the actual dismount of the skill to the cradle or performance surface. So if you have somebody do on level 3 a walk up lib, and then you want to do a creative dismount, which is annoying, and do something kind of flip out of it, you're not going to get counted for that stunt because it needs to be popped off by the person or cradled by the boy or girl, because you can use a girl if it's a co-ed team. It needs to be cradled and got into a cradle or on the ground without help. The only time somebody can help is to catch the cradle, and that's it. Other questions for that? Yes. No. Co-ed team level 1 and 2 doesn't follow that. You go for back to the stunt quantity. That's why on the score sheet it says co-ed / stunt quantity. So for stunt quantity, it's all girl teams, and then also restricted 5. And then co-ed teams start at level 3, and then go 3, 4. Restricted 5 is like a different animal, and then you go to 5 Worlds and 6. If you're 4.2, you don't have to do the co-ed team. You don't have to do that either. Questions? Okay, that's easy. Pyramid difficulty is basically, it's the same thing, not same thing, it's not, they just give you the rubric. So below is you hit a pyramid, okay? You can get a no score for pyramid if you don't do it, but you have to hit a pyramid, hit a structure, somebody touching somebody else, and you'll get a 3.0 to 3.5. Low range is 2 different level appropriate skills in your pyramid, and then 2 structures performed by most of the team. Remember the most of the team, it's the same little grid here for pyramid as well. So if you have my senior 2 team with 19, if I have 4 stunts, then I can do a pyramid of 3 and get credit for the structure. Got it? So if I was level 2, I would do some trying to transition up to a pyramid, hit my structure, I do another half down or something, and then hit another structure. That'd be 2 structures and then 1 skill, and then I would have to continue with how many skills I want. And again, what it tells you gets you into the range, and then what you do on top of that is like extra credit and gets you the highest of the range or wherever. So for medium, mid-range is 3 different level appropriate skills and 2 structures performed by most of the team. And then high range is 4 different level appropriate skills and 2 structures performed by the team. Yet again, when I judge, I see teams do about 10 level appropriate skills, sometimes not that many, usually like 6 or 7, and then 2 or 3 structures, because they want to get the high range. Because I'm sure everybody's going to be trying to get in the high range, yeah? When I judge pyramids, one thing to look for is just the variety of it. I talk about pyramids tomorrow, so I'll go over everything, but make sure that you're not doing. Here you can get counted for doing a TikTok and then hitting a skill, doing another TikTok, but you're probably going to get the low, the high range. Got it? So just make sure that you're switching up, trying to hit all aspects of the score sheet. There's also this one that shows you the different level appropriate skills you can do for the pyramid. Like I said, this little sheet, I don't know if you want to, like, if the gym owners or directors, or even if you're a coach and you want to make sure your other coaches know it, like my best bet for you would be print it out and have it with you at all times. Okay, because then like double check it before you go to a competition to make sure that you're hitting where you're going to want to be. Otherwise, it's going to be a surprise. I've had teams, I was judging a team and they took out their half up, it was a co-ed team, they took out their walk up extension lib because like 3 of them fell the first day, and they were confused why their score dropped down a half a point day 2. So just make sure that even if you change anything which happens a lot right before competitions, you know what you're doing, and you should know what to expect, basically where you're going to get scored for difficulty almost every time you go to a competition. Got it? Any questions on that? For toss difficulty, you basically have to do a squad +1 for this score sheet. So squad doesn't mean full team again. Squad means as many people in a basket without 3 left over. So I have a team of 19. I need 4 baskets because I have 4 groups with 3 front spots, and then I have nobody left over. So 19 is like a little tricky one, but if you ask me, because you get that one group that doesn't have a front spot, but then you need 4 groups. 18, you only need 3 groups throwing a basket. If you have 18 kids on a team, because everybody has a front spot, there's only 3 people left over from that. So the 3 people can't form a full basket group, so that's the reason why you don't need a complete another basket toss. Does that make sense? So if you have, I can't do math that fast, but 17 on a team, it'd have to be 3 again, because then you have 2 left over. So as many baskets that you can make with front spots or without front spots and not have them left over. If I have the same 18 on the team and I throw 3 baskets, but I don't use front spots and I have 5 people hanging out and left over, you're gonna get scored in the 4.6 range. Okay, so just that's a common thing, yes?
Sorry, but if you do use those front spots,
You get scored the same. It's scored. I suggest using front spots because usually they're going to be higher. You're going to execute better. So I love using them for baskets because it helps you on the score sheet. Because difficulty is 0.5. Usually you're going to be in the high range. Or difficulty there, everybody gets a 5.0. And then the execution is 2 points where they judge you. So I try to get those as high as I can on those 2 points for execution. So I throw the front spot on there because they're going to be higher. It's going to be easier for the flyer. Questions? Yes. For baskets, it used to be like that. She asked if we get a higher difficulty score if you use front spots versus taking your front spots off because it's obviously more difficult to throw a basket without a front spot. And the answer is no. They changed it last year where you max out, or 2 years ago, where you max out on baskets. So a 5.0, you're getting a 5.0 as long as you do my level 2 team with 18. If I do, no, I changed my number from 19 to 18. If I do 3 straight red baskets with 3 people left over and I have 3 front spots, you get a 5.0. If I do 4 baskets with 18, only 2 front spots, and I get a 5.0. So it doesn't change anything because you max out at a 5.0 for just doing what they asked for on the score sheet. And don't forget about your +1 basket that you needed in the routine. That can also be, if I'm level 5, that doesn't have to be a level appropriate basket. So if you're level 4, level 5, whatever, you can literally do a straight ride and that counts as your +1 basket. I haven't seen anybody do that yet because it's a little tacky, but whatever. But just make sure that that one basket is executed really well because they're looking at that one more than they're looking at the squad one, almost. What I've noticed when I have teams on the floor and when I judge. So just make sure that that is a good basket. Don't be like, oh, all the leftover girls can't tumble. We're gonna throw a basket. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully you don't die doing it. Make sure that that is a strong basket, okay? Any questions for the basket, the tosses? Basically this whole page, oh, not this one. This whole page. So, because we're gonna move to tumbling next. So the stunt difficulty, quantity, co-ed quantity, and stunt quantity, pyramid difficulty, and toss difficulty. No questions? Just make sure that you know you have this out. It's your Bible. It's like you refer to it. I refer to it all the time, and I feel like I have it almost memorized. So just make sure that you're really it gets tricky sometimes. Sorry, y'all. I have the things that have been common when I'm going to competitions or while I'm judging right now that people get confused about is not hitting one elite with the full team to get the stunt quantity. Some people didn't understand why they were scoring so low. People didn't know the numbers for most after you hit a stunt quantity. So people just didn't know how many they needed to do, or they had to do it and they argued that I don't understand why I'm not getting scored higher. You get credit for dipping and walking the stunt around. So say I'm doing a half up, as long as you dip and you walk around in level 2, that's a half up. Okay, it's like a way, it's like my little trick to you guys. It's a way to sort of cheat the score system if you're having trouble with one of the groups or 2 of the groups. Okay, and then just knowing the numbers for full team versus most. And that's it. Questions on stunts? We're gonna be done with stunts. Cool. For tumbling, here we go. Standing tumbling is more tricky than running tumbling. Again, they give you the little the table. So let's say I have a team of 19. 3.0 to 3.5 is below. If it's level 2 and I don't have the required tumbling, as long as I throw something, you're gonna score at least the 3.0. Okay? So if I know some teams, like my level 2 teams in the past have always been weaker at tumbling, so I really try to push tumbling, and I let them throw nasty tumbling just because I was like, I want the points for that, I want the difficulty. But now I realize that the difficulty is, there's 2 full points for execution, and there's only, like if you get to a certain range, you know where you're gonna be, and your execution's gonna go down a lot more. I'm only supposed to be talking about difficulty, but I'm throwing an execution. So any tumbling that you do on level, say level 2 or level 3, just make sure you execute it well, because it's gonna get scored harsher on tumbling. Low range is most of the team performs a level appropriate pass. For my level 2, that would be just a standing back handspring. So by most of the team, just 1. Here it has the little guide for that. I'll go back in a second. Mid-range is majority of the team performs 2 different level appropriate passes, one of which must be synchronized from the initiation of the pass. Majority. And majority is squad plus 1. So for my 19, it'd be 10. So you just need 10 to hit the mid-range. So just make sure that you know your numbers and everything. It's happened to me a lot of the times in competition. It happened on my level 5 team one time. We were at a big competition trying to get a bid. And we needed 75% of the team to do like a full or a double. And we had a girl that I guess got tired. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be in the high range, cool. So I got my score sheet and I was like, oh, mid-range, what? So I went back and I started to argue with the judges and I was like, I don't understand, I have tumbling, I hit the score sheet. And they're like, it's okay, well, let's go watch the playback. So I was like, okay, like I know I have it. So I watched this girl do a punch front through to layout and I was like this. Okay, just kidding. So like, my bad, my wrong, I wasted your time. So make sure that you know that if you want to argue a score ever, make sure you know that you know the numbers of what went on, because sometimes it happens that people get tired, people get nervous, and then your numbers aren't going to be right. So if you can, make sure that you tell the kids the importance of that. I always do. I'm like, you're a number. Like, I love you, but you're also a number to me right now, because I need to get in this sort of level. Yes?
Can you add like a buffer? I would suggest like add.
Oh yeah.
Especially choreography.
Yeah, when I do choreography, I usually always try to make sure I have that plus 1 or 2, just to like cover my bases, because kids are unpredictable, man. And then to get in the high range for level 1 and 2, which is different than level 3. So don't think about level 3 right now, just 1 and 2. It's most of the team performs 2 different level appropriate passes, one of which may be synchronized from the initiation of the pass. So that means that you can have people do ripples. My team of 18 level 2 kids. Ripples, standing back handspring, standing back handspring, standing back handspring. Even if I don't have all 15 do it, 14. I only need 14 to get in the high range. But if I had the same 10, I have 10 really good back handsprings and 4 a little sketchy, I could have the same 10 go twice for that one thing. But then you also need one that is synchronized from the initiation of the pass. So I'm level 2, and it has to be different. So I just did my standing back handsprings, those 10 kids did it twice. So I just did 20, but I don't get in the high range yet. Next pass, I have to do a synchronized something different. So level 2 is pretty easy. It's any pass that's attached onto it. It can be a front walkover, back handspring, back roll, back handspring, back walkover, back handsprings. But it happened to one of the teams I choreographed this year, a few months ago. They do back handsprings, and they stand up and they move, they do choreography, they do back walkover, back handsprings. But a few of the girls did not have a back walkover, they just try to catch on the back handspring. So they did not get in the high range because they caught on. It has to be from the initiation of the pass for the synchronized tumbling. Does that make sense? So that is just like something I had to look out for because I know I've ran into that problem before. So for level 2, you need to do whatever standing tumbling that you're gonna do, standing back handspring, whatever move. If you're doing your second pass or your first pass, either one has to be synchronized, one does not have to be, but you have to do 2. Okay, so the number that you have to do is my level 2 team with 19, I need to do 28 back handsprings, basically. Because I need 14 for each time, 14 twice. It's up to you how you guys do that, okay? I just wanna make sure you guys know that it has to be 2 different passes and one has to be synchronized from the beginning. Yeah? For toes. Level 3 is basically the same. Level 3, 4, 5, 6 is basically the same, except it has to be a jump combo for the synchronization. So level 3 has to be jump, either standing back handspring, jump 2 back handsprings, jump 3 back handsprings, whatever the case is. It just needs to have a jump before it. Level 4, jump hand back, jump hand layout, any of those. Level 5 can be jump 2 to full, jump to tuck. Got it? Basically those are that one gets hard. And make sure, it happened to me last year at the last competition, I got credit for it all year. And I did my ones that weren't so good for level 4 team. Toe, back handspring, tuck, and then my good ones with the toe, hand layouts went right after. And I got scored in the high range all year. And the last competition, they were like this, you're not synchronized. And I was like, wait, what? And so I was like, they're going at the same time. One's starting, one's finishing. And I didn't even get out of it. I got second place because of it. So make sure that you just know that that jump tumble one for level 3 to 6 needs to be synchronized. Running tumbling level 1 through 5 and juniors and restricted is most of the team performs a level appropriate pass. Again, this is the little guide to that. So standing tumbling is 2 times. You have to do it 2 times to get in the high range. Running tumbling is just 1. Okay, so that's the high range. I just skipped right to the high range. Most of the team performs a level appropriate pass. So don't overdo it. It doesn't even have to be a combo. Say I'm doing back handsprings. To get in the high range, you only have to do, for my team of 19, 14 round of back handsprings. Okay? I mean, you can do more. It's up to you how high you think you want to get or how well it's up to you. But just make sure you know it's only most. For mid-range is majority, so that's squad, half squad plus 1. So for my team of 19 would be 10. And then, 10. And then low range is less than majority. So 1 or 2, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, okay? Basically, it's like up to the judge's discretion. If you throw 1 round of back handswing in a level 2 routine, you'll be in the low range. If you don't have any round of back handswings in your level 2, but you're really beast stunters, you'll be below low, which is 3.0 to 3.5. But if you just throw 1, you're 3.5 to 3.4. I mean, to 4.0. For Worlds teams, to get in the high range, the majority of the team performs an elite skill, and it shows the elite skills. Actually, I'll tell you the elite skills. The elite skills are any combo through to full. Straight fulls don't count as elite skills for level 5 and level 6 Worlds teams. Double or combo through to double. And so that one is just majority to get in the high range, 4.5 to 5.0. So I have a team of 20, a small all-girl 5 team. I only need 11 tumblers doing a combo through to full or a double. Again, for running tumbling, it's a little bit easier. You could have the 1 double and have that girl go 11 times, and you'll get in the high range. It doesn't need to be at the same time. It doesn't need to be synchronized. Running tumbling is a little bit easier than standing, not a little bit, it's a lot easier than standing tumbling.
You're talking about combos, what exactly?
For level 5, punch front, whips, Arabians, it depends on whatever you are. Specialty passes. So I don't think front walkover to fulls don't really count anymore. Sometimes they do. It depends on your judges. If you're like at Worlds, you're not gonna get the highest if you don't do those, okay? Questions about that? Those 2 for running tumbling? No? And then I didn't go over jumps. Here. Where is it? Where is it? Where are you? They're on tumbling. So jump difficulty is you can either do 4 jumps to get in the high range or 3 jumps plus 1. It doesn't need to be in the same section. So it ties into tumbling because you have to do that jump tumbling combo for standing tumbling. So sometimes you'll see a level 3 team do a toe touch, 3 back handsprings, do their routine, do whatever, and they'll get to their jumps, and you only have to do 3 jumps, okay? But sometimes the judges might be like, oh, I forgot that you did that jump, and you'll have to go argue that. So it's maybe easier to just lay it out in front of them and I do now because it's a little bit easier to execute, 3 jumps and then 1 jump, or 1 jump and then 3 jumps, and you'll get in the high range. That's the other, besides tosses, those are the 2 times where you max out your score. So it's a 5.0 if you do what they ask for. So tosses is a 5.0 if you do the full squad plus 1, and then jumps is if you do 3 jumps plus 1 or 4 jumps. And that is just most. So that is my team of 19, it's 14 kids doing the jumps. You do not need everybody to do the jumps to get in the high range. And like she asked over there, if I have my full team doing jumps, it's not gonna make your difficulty score any better. So what I've been doing is, if I have a kid whose legs have metal in them and they can't really lift their legs higher, then you're doing something in the back, or you're doing something over there. Or if she's a tumbler, she can tumble through it, okay? Because you're getting judged, now you have 2 points of execution and everybody's gonna be at the same place for jumps. So just really try to focus on what best fits your team. Any questions on those things? One last thing, I think 2 things actually. In your stunts, when it has a little sheet and you're doing the stunts, if you want to be in the elite level appropriate section, pay attention to when it says body position or body line or extended level 1 leg stunt. Because sometimes it says, like in level 3, it says you can do a half up to single leg stunt and you'll be elite level appropriate. But then also level 2, you have to do a body line to body line TikTok, so like the hold on thing, to be in the elite level. So some people think that doing a TikTok from here, this isn't a body line for the score sheet. You have to go like heel stretch to arabesque, or heel stretch to heel stretch, arabesque to arabesque. It has to be a body line. So just when you're reading that portion of it, you have to be very specific and know when it says body position or single leg. And then the last one is when you're trying to know, because I said you should be able to know basically what range you're in. Most everybody's going to be trying to go for high range. So the difficulty drivers are what, like right here, it tells you, basically are what sets the judges from giving you a 4.5 to a 5.0. Okay, so again, if you print this all up, have it together, just make sure you always have it. And then make sure you know that the difficulty drivers are what sets you apart from a 4.5 to a 5.0. Questions about anything? Cool.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for Ted.